In our last episode, we met with the building inspector of Old Saybrook to go over the permitting process. Today, we're going to meet with the architects and talk about the building envelope and what's involved and what kind of insulation systems we have out there. So come join us. Hey, Rick.
Hey,
how
Dave,
you doing?
how you doing?
Hey, doing great, doing great. Greg, hey, good to see you.
Welcome back.
Oh, thanks. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time out so we can sit down and talk about this building envelope. It's really, I've been wrestling back and forth and haven't found that perfect way, of insulation system and which way to go. So hopefully we can nail down something today. I'm excited.
It's an important component of the house. We need to make sure we get it right.
Awesome. Let's go. So what do you have here?
Well, Dave, we've started doing a little bit of research on your building envelope, and we came across a great article that was in the Fine Home Building magazine, and it's been reprinted several times. But this is all about energy efficiency, smart envelope design. And this is actually taking the idea of different models of energy efficiency in the envelope and putting it into kind of 6 simple steps or 6 simple versions of that, which you could think about doing. These are HyperGreen Walls. These are not your normal green walls. These are going for our 40 value or more. So I think maybe we can just kind of go through some of the different options that they talk about.
Sure.
Pros and cons of those, what they might be, and then at the end of this, maybe figure out where we feel we should kind of take your house. Number one, this is on the first page, is a standard R20 wall, which is standard construction. So we're all used to seeing standard wood studs, either 2x4 wood studs or 2x6 wood studs, with the old-fashioned batt insulation in them, the old pink insulation, sometimes different colors as well. And so there's been some reaction to those, that batt insulation maybe potentially being a harmful hazardous material down in the future, and a lot of people don't like dealing with the itchiness and the effectiveness of it. First version they talk about is a double stud wall. So basically you're building 2 studs, 2 framed walls up. One might be the exterior wall holding up the roof structure. Both of these are, I think, framed as 2x4 walls. And then you have an interior wall, which is another 2x4 wall, which makes a deeper cavity that you then can stuff and fill with insulation. The other thing they do is they separate the 2 walls, so you're not having a wood touch wood, which gives you that break of thermal.
Okay, so no conduction. So by doing that, we eliminate the conduction.
Correct, and basically it's using standard framing materials and just making an extra thick cavity to stick more insulation in that wall. The major pro of this system is that it's standard framing that every framer in the local area knows how to do. And they can build one wall and build the second wall and put it up. The con to this is actually getting the insulation to fit between the studs and form it right and getting the right insulation installment that you need on there. So it's not as simple to put the insulation in as it might be in a standard thickness wall. The second option that they show is not unlike the first version, where we have a thickened wall, but this one's done with a roof with a truss system that's actually engineered. It's called a Larsen Trust, and a Larsen Trust was a gentleman, I don't know when he did it, but he developed this system of a wall structure that actually applied to standard framing on the outboard of the house, and the truss factors became the thickness where the extra insulation can be involved.
Gotcha.
And so it kind of created this double layer of insulation. You build the frame of the wall of the house kind of in a normal construction, and you add the trusses on the outside of that to get the extra thickness.
I believe that's one of the recommendations, is a retrofit.
Oh, okay. All right.
The third one they go over is the, again, they call it, this one's inspired by the passive wall house. So the passive wall, the passive house is a model engineering code in Germany that talks about super efficient homes, and looking for really zero energy homes and really super tight homes, and many restrictions to what your home can become because of that. Really thick walls, really small windows, certain roof pitches, and a whole lot of rules that go along with it. This third one has to be an option for us that would be very thick insulated walls, and you don't have to necessarily do all the other passive components as well. But this has to do with with basically taking an engineered piece of material. We all heard of truss joist or some other material like that, and actually placing it on its side and adding it to the outboard of the house to get the thickness of that extra thick wall.
So it is a structural member on edge then?
It becomes a structural member on edge.
Okay, all right. Not like that Larsen, or what was this, that one where it was something on the outside. This is actually a structural member.
Exactly.
Okay.
All of this has to do with how well your building is protected from air infiltration as well. So you can have a super insulated house, but if you're letting air come in through window gaps or through under sill gaps, then you're losing all that heat through those gaps. So you could do a really super energy home and still not do it right.
So it's all the follow through. It's all those little things that add up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting version. This is actually a standard home construction, 2x4, 2x6 wall construction, adding on furring strips on the outside of the house again. And in this case, I think they call for 1x3 furring strips or 2x3 furring strips. And then they spray foam that outside cavity as well as putting cellulose insulation inside the interior wall cavity. Double layer of insulation again. It can be constructed with standard materials, nothing unique about grabbing the 2x3 furring strips, they're everywhere. They do get pinned to the outside of the house and have to get screwed into the studs. You can see that how these are kind of pinned through and have to meet
just
up
like
in
held
line with
off, okay, to get the depth. Okay.
Exactly, and they're held up, so that we can get the insulation behind the gap of the sheathing of the...
Oh, like a thermal break then,
Exactly.
Huh? Now for cost, you know, spray foam is a wonderful thing, but you know, doing whole cavities of spray foam, right? Isn't it considerably expensive from your experience?
It is. I mean, relative to the cellulose or to the bad installations, at least twice or maybe 3 times more expensive from what we've seen in the area. So,
kind of a little squeamish on that one.
Little squeamish on that one, but it seems like it's been done before and can be done all right. Number 5. This page is a little unique because it has 5 and 6 on the same page. With the
throws you off.
With the model on the left and for number 5 on the left, and the model for 6 on the right. Left is number 5 is the one we've kind of talked about as being a possibility for your home, which is standard wall construction, again 2x6 construction.
Yeah, for our part of the country,
Fill that cavity with the cellulose.
Yeah, which you know, to me, fiberglass, I'm not a big fan on it. I like cellulose. If I was to do some kind of media like that,
sheathe it on the outside of the building just like you'd sheathe any other house that you've seen around here. Provide a great air barrier at that point, meaning a Tyvek or some other kind of air barrier. There's a lot of different products and pieces out there which we can research. Make sure that it's taped thoroughly. Make sure it's taped tight around windows and around joints and around seams. And then on top of that, add rigid insulation.
Oh, so okay, not a little fan fold. You're talking thicker than that.
Thicker insulation, and in this case it's actually showing 2 layers of 2 inches. So it's adding out 4 more inches of insulation. That system gets you the R40 value.
Okay, wow. That was some great information. You know, we covered a lot of different things here, but you know, in my next step, where do I go from here? You know, we covered all these, but I need somebody to really, you know, point me in the right direction.
Well,
Any thoughts?
I think the best way to go now is to get that expert in we talked about.
And who's that?
His name is George Keithan. He's out of CES Engineers out of Middletown, Connecticut. And we can give him a call and set up a time to meet with you.
Well, that's great. That's a local guy. I'm not dealing with somebody out of state or anything else. Yeah, that sounds awesome. If you could reach out to him and maybe we could, you know, finalize some of these ideas that we've gone over and just kind of make a clearer picture of which way we should go.
He definitely has his opinions and be able to guide you down the right path.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, super.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, thanks again, Rick. Appreciate your time. And you too, Greg. Yes. Take care. Hey.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, well, there's some great information covered there, you know, I look forward to. So in our next episode, we're going to meet with a land surveyor, and we're going to go through what's involved in, you know, measuring out a lot, documenting all the information, so this aids in the permitting process. As we talked about earlier, going to, you know, zoning and everything, they need a documented copy or survey of the land. And so we're going to meet with a local guy, Stu Fairbanks, of Angus McDonald, and they're going to just kind of walk us through the process and what's involved. So till next time, please stay tuned.